Hey team, it's Daniel again with the Brazos Valley Boars and Varmits. So today we are doing the review of the RIX Stride ST6. This is a helmet-mounted monocular that is in 640, and this has been the new go-to that I've been wearing on my face recently. Let's talk about it. So the first thing I need to do is go ahead and get this helmet off my face and get my shooting glasses off. Please don't mind the bald head. Male pattern baldness is a thing. I love you too. And I'm going to go ahead and get the monocular off of the helmet so that way we're not being distracted by everything else that's going on here. So let's get that out of the way, because this is the heart and soul of what it is that we actually care about for this video. So small, so tiny, right here against my hand. For those of y'all that ever wear surgical gloves, I'm an 8.5 for regular latex gloves. I wear extra large. That's how small this is. I'm going to go ahead and put all the specs in like I usually do, that I don't feel like rattling off because they get really boring to everybody. But this is a high performer that, like I just said a minute ago, has actually replaced my go-to helmet-mounted monocular. Now, the big things that we actually care about it on the specs are that this is a 640 by 512 sensor. It has a base mag of 1.0. I've known lots of people that have ran helmet-mounted binoculars, thermal, that were something different than 1.0. I did it for a little bit there. Guys, 1.0 is gonna be the way that you want to go with these. That way you can get such a wide field of view, and if you're doing this, it's a lot safer at 1.0 than it is at 2.5 or whatever else the other ones are, 2.0. So again, 1.0 base mag, which is right where you want it to be, has a 12 micron sensor that is all the way down to sub 25 millikelvin sensitivity. And if you notice, like as I'm filming this, I see that in this camera right here, it almost looks like really bad film, because I'm having to, where I'm holding it, it just doesn't take up any space. This is so small. That's exactly what you need for your helmet mounted monoculars. This thing is only 4.5 inches long by 2.8 inches tall, and then just shy of 2 inches thick. So super small, super tiny, lightweight at only 9.6 ounces. So it doesn't throw you off too much on your weight balance of your helmet. Because remember, whatever weight you have on the front, you don't want to have all that on the front and having to fight your neck back the entire time. You want to be fairly balanced. That's a different topic for a different video, but lightweight, so that's great. And also, being that this is this small and lightweight, also makes this really nice to just put in your pocket. Just put it in, like I can put it in these shirt pockets here, and it's so light, it's so small, it doesn't take up much space at all. So it's also a really handy scanner outside of using it on my helmet as well. So guys, again, real small. In fact, let's look at this compared to some other helmet mounted devices. So here's the RIX Stride ST6 and then my PVS 14. You can see that by all sizes, all dimensions, this is about the same. In fact, let me hold these to where they're both looking the right direction. These are, in fact, my PVS 14 is a little bit bigger around. Again, this is my current setup, but my previous helmet-mounted thermal was the Envision Nox 18. So I love this. This is a solid unit. I am not selling this thing anytime soon, but look how much bigger this is by comparison to the RIX Stride ST6. Now, obviously, I do have this weapons-mounted mount on here as well, but at the same time, this is significantly bigger. It is heavier. Now, this isn't so much of a comparison between these two. Hint, hint, we're going to save that for a different video. But basically, I just want to show you why I'm liking the RIX so much more than what else is on the market today in high quality thermals that we have access to. So again, PVS 14 here, RIX Stride ST6. Envision Knox 18. Full great setup. I'm running the PVS 14 and the RIX nowadays. So guys, let's do the walkthrough of this. Starting off with the lens, it does have a cap that stays on here, but it doesn't get in the way of anything, of the battery cover, the buttons. And I know sometimes like things look goofy to be bouncing around whenever you're walking, but at the same time, this is wonderful. It stays in place and out of the way. So this is a great lens cover. Also, while we're right here on the front, this battery compartment, this is something that I am so glad that RIX did right by giving us 18650s for this device. But the one thing that I am not stellarly excited about is the fact that these take flat top batteries. I don't own anything other than this device that takes 18650 flat tops. So RIX, if you're watching this, there's no way I'm the first person that's told you. Please make this in a version that takes button top batteries or an adapter, so that way it could take button top batteries. That's what would be great, would be if I could just have a different lens, different battery cover, so that way I don't have to buy a whole new one, and these can just start taking button tops like everything else that I own. So that would be great. I love that it's 18650, but that's something that is room for improvement. At the same time, if this is the biggest thing I have to complain about, then like big wooty-doo, this is still a solid unit. Now, talking about batteries, I read somewhere that this is supposed to have a 10-hour, run time on its battery life. That is totally dependent on what battery you're actually using. How many milliamp hours of storage are in here. It just depends on the quality, the grade of it. How good of a battery are you actually using. On this one, which is some El Cheapo that I got off of Amazon, I'm getting about 4 hours out of these. At the same time, your results may vary just depending on what size, what quality of battery you actually get. Now, moving over to the buttons. I really like how the buttons are, just right here on this round of, this flat part of the round of the battery compartment. This is a good natural spot whenever you're trying to use them. I do like that you can actually feel the different shape, how these have a flat end versus the one in the middle. These got these extra ridges and it's rounded. So at night, whenever I'm trying to use this, you can definitely tell which one you're on because there's only 3. So you're either on the front, the back, or in the middle. But there is one thing that I don't like, being the fact that there are only 3 buttons. One of them does your magnification. The other one does your color palettes, so that way you can do white hot, red hot, green hot, black hot. They've got all these different colors built into it. And then another one is how you take your pictures and or video. But if you want to get into the menu, because there's no other buttons left, you have to push 2 of them at the same time. And then if you want the picture-in-picture function of this, you have to push the other 2 at the same time. Now, if you're going to do this, RIX did it the right way in that it is the power button plus one other one, just a quick press, and that gets you into the menu. Or if it turns out that's not what you want it to do, then you toggle through to get to exit. And then if you were actually wanting the picture-in-picture, you do the quick press to get picture-in-picture. If that's not what you want to do, just do it again. Picture-in-picture goes away. So being that you are using the power button on either one of those, that is the right way to do this, rather than like, oh, is it the front and back? Is it the front and middle and back? Like, nope, it's going to be power plus one more, but you just, in the field, you'll figure it out. Mind you, if this is going to be the one helmet-mounted thermal that you are wearing, you're going to figure this out real quick. It's very intuitive. So I do like a few more buttons, so that way you're not trying to do the multiple buttons to do a function game, but the most important functions are just one button at a time, and then when you want to get to the more advanced things, that's when you're doing multiple buttons. So I've got things I love about this. At the same time, if you wanted to just add a side button over here, so that way you could just get into the menu there, or that's how you want to do something different, that would be a way around this. However, this is great. I'm loving it. It's still wonderful. Now, the big thing that I love about this one are two different things. And this is what really sets this thermal monocular way apart from every other helmet-mounted thermal that's out there right now. Two big things. One, it has internal recording. Obviously, by the fact that you've already watched me roll in footage as I've been talking about this, you know it has internal recording. That is something that is huge on these little bitty units. A lot of them don't. And so I'm super happy about that. Y'all know that as I'm doing video creation, I've got to have footage to work with. And so the fact that I have footage to work with, that's nothing but good news for me. So that way I've got stuff that I can use. And then also, like, there's been a few other hunts where we've gone back and looked at the footage and realized where we screwed something up, and I only recorded that on my helmet, which was already running. We didn't have anything else recording at the time. So again, I love having internal recording. The other big kicker to this is this thermal helmet mounted monocular is $3,000. And for a 640, 12 micron, sub 25 millikelvin with internal recording. Oh, it's audio. It is video only. There is no audio recording. It's video only. So I got to be really clear about that. But with all of those features, it's only $3,000. And when you look at all the other ones, this is the value point right here. The other ones that are more expensive, there's a reason why they're way more expensive. And then the other ones that are cost less than this one, there's reasons why they cost less than this one. This is the value for your money whenever you're talking about helmet-mounted thermals. So you put those two together, that it has really great specs with internal recording, and it's only $3,000. I'm sold. In fact, I bought this one with my own money. I even sold a scope that I wasn't using anymore. I loved it. It was great. I didn't want to sell it, but man, I wanted to free up some funds so I could get this one. I found out that this thing was coming. I sold some stuff. I bought this thing, and I've been using it for months now. So as my go-to, I need this thing to do lots of different stuff. I need it to be able to have a deep depth of field, which is where I can stay focused on things that are near, and I can still clearly see things that are far. And so your focus ring is right here on the front, just like most thermals are. And again, I've got that deep and far clarity with this. Also, I don't need this to be nuking a whole bunch. And this has an auto nuke built into it. In fact, it's the only way that you can nuke it. And this thing nukes itself in a way that as I'm using it, I really don't notice it. It is so few and far between that it really doesn't happen much at all. And it is just, it stays clear. You don't have long pauses on it whenever it does nuke. And as I'm using this, I'm using it for both walking and driving. And every single bounce that I'm using this, whether it be from the road as we're driving the buggy around, or as I'm just stepping with my heavy feet, either way, I need this to work in both of those conditions, and it does it great. I love this thing. If I were to come up with some bad things about it, again, it's only going to be those two things. One, the 18650 that it runs off of is not a button top. So now I've got to get all new batteries for it. And then two, the fact that you simplified my button layout by only having 3 means you got to push double buttons on things. Again, if this, I'm having to dig to find things that I really don't like about it. Everything else has been great. I'm rough on my gear, and so I've got to have things, and I know I got a blanket on this table right now, but in my gear bag, stuff has to be able to be jostled around, and I don't have to think about it. If I have to be worried about this thing is going to break, because I know that it's RIX. I know this is a fairly new company by comparison to all the other companies that we're working with out there, but this is a rugged, durable little unit. Obviously, I haven't ran it over with the truck or anything, but who's doing that stuff, right? I'm using this in real world scenarios where it's in a bag getting thrown around like crazy, and it's been wonderful. So guys, I'm running out of ways to explain to you how much I love this, because it is just such a great unit. These things have sold like crazy. And if you're in the market for something like this, obviously there are some features that it doesn't do. It does not have a microphone built into it, which is part of the reason why they're able to keep it at $3,000. It is not weapons mountable. They don't advertise it as a clip-on. It doesn't have any kind of crosshairs built into it. So, you know, again, that is a thing it doesn't do, but it's only $3,000. So, all that being said, for what this is an amazing value, so much to the point that this is the one that I wear on my head every time I go out now. You know, sometimes when I do videos like this where I just really want to explain to you how much I enjoy something, I really feel like I'm trying to sell this. And guys, you know, y'all know that I am not a dealer. I don't make any money off of sales or anything like that. But it's not that I'm trying to sell you this. I'm trying to share with you this, how much I have loved it and the experience that I've had with it. So guys, that being said, if you had any questions about whether or not you're like, I don't know, maybe not, this checks so many boxes and it's at the right prices that I hope that you get to have wonderful experiences with this thing like I did also, because guys, it's always hog season. Bye.